All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Marquette Messenger Movie Podcast, Season 4, Episode 1. I'm your host, Will Roach.
And I am your co-host, Jeff Swift.
So today we're going to just take it easy, talk about It Chapter 2 and Angel Has Fallen, two movies I wasn't particularly pleased with. But let's just go over a quick little synopsis over both of them and what we thought. So Jeff, you want to talk about It 2?
Alright, so let's start with that. It 2 was obviously the follow-up to the original It, surprise, surprise, and it takes on do we want to do a synopsis real quick of it? Or just...
me? Okay. So It 2 is 27 years after the first It. Everyone is coming back. Like, everyone from the Losers Club is coming back because, Mr. Pennywise is also back. He didn't die in the first movie. That's about all we can really get into it without jumping into spoiler territory, as with most sequels. Angel Has Fallen, you didn't see that, did you?
I did not.
Okay. Quick synopsis on Angel Has Fallen. It's after London Has Fallen. It's the Fallen series. So I actually don't remember the protagonist's name. I think it's Mike. Yeah, we'll just call him Mike.
The guy from 300.
Mike Banning, that's his name, acted out by Gerard Butler. It's been a few years since London Has Fallen, and now Mike's kind of getting ready to just sit back in a desk after being a Secret Service agent for a while, but he has all these problems from when he was an agent, like physical problems, as one usually would have after being in an actual action movie. Once he has those problems, the president takes him out to a lake to go fishing to tell him that he's gonna make Mike the head of the Secret Service, I think, and then they all get attacked by terrorists, and Mike Banning is accused of attempting to assassinate the president, and it is not great. So yeah. We forgot the little basic review on It 2. I didn't think it was that great. It wasn't as scary as the first one, but it still had like that same heart that the first one did.
I thought, honestly, good story overall. The scares were 50-50. Some of them worked incredibly effectively. Should we spoiler when? Or no, we're not going to go with that?
Just like a few more seconds.
Okay. There was a lot of it that was very scary, but sometimes it simply boils down to giant CG monsters.
Yeah.
And that ruins a lot of the scares. Because big, scary, creepy looking thing is scary for 2 seconds. And then it just gets bombastic.
Yeah. Angel Has Fallen, the few little notes I took down on it, it's predictable, boring. It doesn't really fill out with Mike's problems. For example, he just it says that he has them, and you see the side effects for a few seconds, and that's about it. Doesn't have any other effect on the overarching story. And then the choreography, as with most easy make action films, is garbage. So yeah, I think we are ready to hit the spoiler mark.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are in spoilers for It 2. So, you want to give the full synopsis, Jeff? Because you were there.
All right. What do you want me to hit? Do you want me to hit the scares, story?
Story. Just start with
story. Okay. So, the story is that they all return to Derry, and they've all forgotten everything because that cloud of mist that surrounds Derry, thanks to It, is getting rid of their memories of it. So, it's almost a protective act by It. But nevertheless, they return after Mike, the one of the protagonists of the story, calls them all back, brings them back, and they slowly gain all the memories back until they remember everything, including that freaking clown.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they all remember the clown. They just,
They didn't know specifically, but they were scared going into it for some reason. And it was the clown, but they just didn't know it. Now, So they, go their separate ways, come back together as what happens. The refusal of the call to purpose, basically. And then that dissipates. They go on different fetch quests, basically, specifically for them, all rekindling old memories that they had with it and with horrible things that happened in their lives, because many of them, or all of the Losers Club members, they struggled with some form of abuse, being bullying, I believe sexual assault, full-blown in Beverly's case. That's at least the original idea of it, and I don't know if they went with it for this one. They hinted at it, but I don't remember.
Yeah, it was just her father was extremely obsessive after his wife died.
Yes, and so that they all grab their little trinkets and bring it back to perform the ritual of Chewed, which again harkens back to the novel in the 1990 miniseries. But as it did in the miniseries, this one doesn't work. It happens, stuff happens, but overall it doesn't kill Pennywise because it didn't work. And so from there, they have to fight him using other means, and they decide to bring him down to the basically what his body or what his belief allows him to be.
Yeah.
And so they start fighting him by essentially saying that he's weak and he's just a stupid clown and there's no way, and he loses power through that.
Yeah, so Pennywise's power is basically built on your sense of fear, and so if you're really afraid of him, he can turn into like a giant monster spider Pennywise.
Yes.
But if you aren't afraid of him, then he just becomes like a little baby-sized creature, and you can pull out his heart and squish it.
And that's how they
the resolution.
That's how they did it. And then they find at the end basically all their problems have been resolved. Past the spoiler warning, Eddie doesn't make it.
Neither does Stanley.
But anybody that's seen the original knows that about both of those characters. But there is a new twist that I think is pertinent to point out between the characters Richie and Eddie. Yeah. This is new for it, but Richie, who has long been, what's his thing, is he doesn't get married afterwards, he never did. Well, this movie says that's because he is in the closet.
Yeah, he's gay.
Yes, and he had a crush on Eddie.
Yeah.
Who they don't hint at him being gay, but yeah.
It's a really good arc for the character. I think it adds a bit more depth to him rather than just being the comedian who doesn't write his own material.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, going back to the part about Pennywise's power being built off of fear, it's an interesting gimmick, but once the characters aren't afraid anymore, it kind of ruins your own fear of it, because once you know that it's not real, then there's no real reason to be afraid of it.
And Pennywise is turned into exactly what the movie made him out to be at the end. Just a little dilapidated clown.
Yeah.
With a heart that can be pulled out of his chest.
Yeah, honestly, Pennywise was really intimidating and scary in the first It. This time around, you see his face way too much. Yeah, Bill Skarsgård does an incredible job with the character, but just the way Pennywise is portrayed doesn't really do him justice.
I mean, it's like the original Jaws. Jaws was scary for some people because you didn't see. You knew it was a shark, but you didn't see it. It just that's the stuff. That's what added this thrill to the character, and now that thrill. Later everybody knew after the later Jaws movies that should never have existed. They showed the shark too much, and that is kind of what happens here. You see Pennywise a lot. Yeah. He's not hiding anymore. The losers know he's there.
Yeah. So otherwise, I think the movie's only other scares really come from a gross out factor, like there's a leper that Eddie's afraid of, and it vomits all over him.
And it is quite gross.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. there's a child that Pennywise eats in
Many
a
children.
Hall of Mirrors.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, he eats a few children.
Yeah.
What else? I don't know. Oh, jump scares are the other thing. Jump scares kind of are not great.
Mhm.
I don't like them because it's just you're not putting any creativity into it. You're
No.
just showing something flash up on the screen for a minute. There are a few of those, but otherwise, yeah, it's a good story,
Mhm.
not scary.
Yes. But I will still add that, especially compared to all the other movies coming out around this time,
Okay.
this is probably if you want to go see a movie and you're above the age of 17, this is a good one to go to. You know,
Mhm.
it is. You will find yourself gripped by it. You won't want to leave and use the restroom like 5 times.
I have to talk about that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's not a necessary detail to tell. Okay. Yeah, so I think we're done at It2. Good story, not scary.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now we're on to Angel Has Fallen. So for this one, Jeff, you've seen the previous Fallen movies,
Yes.
right?
And I just want to know why things keep falling. You know, there's not a lot of
Gravity.
stability. That's true. Sir Isaac Newton. It's his fault. He's the reason we have these 3 movies. But yeah, so for many people that may not know, you probably heard or you probably thought, oh, Angel Has Fallen. That sounds similar to this movie and this movie. You know, Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen. That's because they're all linked together, and a lot of people don't know that.
It's a trilogy. Yeah.
I never knew that, and then I heard about this one. I'm like, oh, they're related.
Mhm.
It's not just one guy making like the same movie over and over again.
And the horrible thing is, you don't even need to watch the other 2.
Mhm.
There's absolutely no continuity from Olympus or London into Angel,
Mm-hmm.
which is really just a waste of writing. So if you have the money to make multiple movies, you may as well try to put at least a bit of effort into writing something good. I guess it's time for me to go on my rant about this movie.
Go ahead.
All right.
What was yours?
So yeah, Mike Banning, I already went over the basic synopsis. Basically, he has PTSD, all sorts of physical problems ranging from insomnia to back pain is something they mentioned. He's popping pills now, basically, part of the good old opioid crisis going on. Well, that's how they kind of portray it. I don't know if that's actually what he does. Yeah, so he has those problems, kind of. He only shows insomnia once, and then for the rest of the movie, he has no trouble sleeping. Like falling asleep at the wheel, falling asleep in a chair. Insomnia doesn't exist after the first few minutes.
No boy.
The antagonist is, unsurprisingly, a separate character they show as one of Mike's longtime friends who owns a kind of like mercenary base, I guess, with its own miniature militia. His little mantra is, we're lions, we're supposed to be fighting, not sitting behind desks, and that's kind of when you know, okay, he's the bad guy, he's gonna try and do something, not even hiding it. I will say, that's one thing that I dislike about most modern, like, American military movies, is that they glorify the way soldiers kill, because it's, from our perspective, the morally correct thing to do. And it's just a message that we've heard before. It's a message that I'm tired of because, 1, it's not true, and 2, because it's way over past the point of cliche. That's just the antagonist. Really boring. For the rest of the story, Mike Banning's father decides to have the background of kind of leaving out on Mike's life when he was a kid. His story is that he's a Vietnam vet, and he just kind of ducks out because he didn't want to put Mike through his own version of his PTSD, which that's actually an interesting arc for them to put in the movie. Yeah. Unfortunately, they kind of squander that too.
Oh.
And he just becomes, I have a button that blows people up, and I want to try and be a good father now. So they take his good premise and then kind of just throw him away to put the focus back on Mike Banning. What else? I have here choreography. The action is god awful in this movie. There's one scene in particular, I think I told you about this, Jeff. There's an SUV driving through the middle of the night. So one, it's dark, an enclosed space. Mike Banning's in there with 4 other guys. And he's supposed to be like drugged, he's handcuffed, but he still takes all of them out with the help of shaky cam in a dark enclosed space.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's literally just 30 seconds where you can see absolutely nothing.
Oh, I love concussion trauma.
You would know. Yeah, that's definitely the worst example. Otherwise, it's, again, just 5-minute easy bake action film where nothing. Yeah, there's a recipe for it, I promise. Shaky cam, everything looks oversaturated. Paintball guns fire like real guns now to trick the audience.
What?
Okay, let me backtrack. The opening scene is Mike Banning on his friend's kind of like mercenary base, and he's doing a training exercise where basically he has to single-handedly kill, well, quote-unquote kill, every mercenary on base by himself. And so it starts out no context, no explanation, which that's good. It's good to have an opening sequence that's just exciting to get the viewer into the story. But the geography for the situation doesn't make any sense. For example, Mike goes down 2 stories, comes up 1 story. So, sorry, he starts on ground level, goes down 2 stories, comes up 1 story, then when he leaves the building, he's on ground level again. Everything, again, shortcuts, really shaky. They're fighting with just paintball guns, but there are apparently live grenades included, along with guns making actual gun sounds, a sniper in a helicopter using a real sniper rifle. So it just doesn't... It definitely focuses on trying to look exciting rather than be exciting. And the example I always jump to right when I talk about action movies is John Wick.
A prime example of a good action movie.
Exactly. Because, story's not the main focus, but they definitely put a lot of thought into the action.
How was the style of this movie?
Style? How do you mean?
Bland. Was it bland? Did it just feel like every other, action film? Or was it like John Wick or something by Quentin Tarantino where it just bled style?
Yeah, no, like I said like twice before, easy bake.
Easy bake, it's just that, there's nothing else to it.
No substance.
Guns
really.
don't make funny noises.
I mean, they make loud noises.
Oh, but that's not funny. that hurts my ears.
No funny noises. Just a lot of Mike Banning being that classic one-man army. Except it's not an entertaining version of the one-man army.
No Master Chief here, just...
No John Wick either.
Oh, it burns.
Yeah. So, it's just... You can write this one off. Never think about it again after you see maybe the first few minutes of it. And I guess unless you want to ask me anything else.
I don't know. How many roaches would you give it?
Out of how many? What's
out
my
of
scale?
5.
Out of 5? Will Roach would give this movie 2 out of 5.
2 out of 5? All right.
The only justifications for it not being 0 are that the production, they obviously took care to not be on like the dirtiest sets. The sets look realistic, they're not original. But they work.
All right.
And everything is just generally clean except for camera work and choreography. So
now how many roaches would you give It Chapter 2?
It Chapter 2 out of 5. Okay, if I move Angel Has Fallen back to 1.5, then I'll feel good about putting It 2 in between 3.5 and 4. What about you, Jeff?
I would give it a solid 4 stars. There are scenes that you will feel scared of in that movie, but there will be scenes where you're not thrilled at all.
Yeah.
But that's just going along with the scares. You're going to be gripped by it. It's going to be a worthwhile movie to see. If you're looking to do it, I wouldn't go out of my way to just be like, It Chapter 2, I got to see that.
Yeah.
You know.
And as always with sequels, make sure you see the first ones first, because It Too actually does have a continuity in it.
Yeah.
So.
And don't base everything off the book, because they openly say this doesn't follow the book.
Yeah, of course, and that, I guess we're going on a tangent now, but that's always true for adaptations in films. You can't expect it to be a 100% carbon copy of the original content. One, because if it's a different type of media, you obviously have to make certain changes. Like a movie, you can't just have a narrator narrate literally every word that was in the novel. So, yeah, you can't expect something to always be the same as you once saw it.
No. I want to send this one off?
Yeah, I think so. Thank you for listening in to us just talk about our own little thing for a bit.
All right. I have been Jeff Swift, and
I am still Will Roach.
Adios.
Signing off. Bye. Thank you.